Hi, John Leslie here. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up a PPM, a portfolio project management system, on the platform. I'm going to be covering four main things, those four main things being top-level PPM and capacity planning, how do you show all projects, allocations, and timelines in a single collection. So those are the four main things I'm going to be covering, and I'm going to jump right in with the first one, top-level PPM and capacity planning. For this video, I'm primarily going to be running everything out of a single collection. This will be essentially your PPM home base, running all of your projects, handling all of your capacity planning out of a single collection. And a lot of that is going to be visualized using a dashboard, as you see here. So let me begin by walking you through this top-level board, which is set up as a dashboard, as you can see, and walking you through some sample widgets, right? So what we want to be able to see is maybe capacity over time of all of our people, how that capacity is allocated across our employees in different time spans. So that's what we're doing with these first two pie charts. The first one is showing us capacity for all of our people in this very simple example for a single sprint, for that maybe 2-week time box. And of course, you could put dates on this too to make it more explicit. That would just be entered into the title up here. And then for that same group of employees, whatever that group might happen to be, maybe it's your entire organization or maybe it's just some subset, how does that look from a milestone perspective? So maybe a milestone is 3 months. Every 3 months, it's a collection of sprints. Every 3 months, how much capacity and how much allocation do you have for that longer time period, for that bigger time box, so to say? So that's how everything is handled in Favro from a time perspective. It's essentially you create a board that represents a certain time box. You create a widget that also represents a certain time box. So we can see, for example, that within the sprint allocation time box, there are a total of 205 hours of assigned work, of work allocated. And you can see by mousing over each person exactly what that work is, designated or assigned to each person. And you can do the same thing for that bigger time box being the milestone. And you can see for this particular milestone, maybe it's a bigger bucket of allocated work, 533 hours, depending on how far out you pre-plan and assign work. So these are dynamic real-time charts and graphs. As work is allocated, you're going to see these slices of pie change dynamically in real time. And it doesn't matter where in Favro those changes are happening, because you're able to set up data sources across all of Favro. So these boards might exist in this collection. They might also exist in other collections. Maybe to simplify things, you simply want to add collections across your entire organization representing all of your projects. So you have full control over how little or how much of the organization you want represented by a single dashboard. And that's a big part of the flexibility of the tool. Now moving on through the widgets. So what you also want to see is maybe project allocation. So in this particular widget right here, we're looking at a bar chart, obviously, of how much work we have allocated or assigned per project. So project 2, you can see that's 154 hours. You can see project 4 is 130 hours, so on and so forth. And you have the ability, right, to be able to drill down in here and look at all of that work making up that bigger bucket of assigned work for that particular project. You can even drill down into the cards. You can even go to the cards on those particular collections and boards where they may primarily live, because of the power to have the boards, backlogs in multiple collections simultaneously. Here's a great example of an entire project burn down. So we might want a burn down of project 1, a burn down of project 2. Here, for the sake of example, I've simplified it to make this dashboard not so overwhelming, of just a single project. So we're looking at the overall burn down for project 1. And to do that, all I'm really doing is I'm looking at the backlog for project 1 for a particular date range, right? Whatever the expected span of that project is intended to be. And then what do I want to burn down? Do I want to burn down points? Do I want to burn down hours? And you simply select, or maybe cards, and you simply select that measure here. And that's going to give you the ability to visualize very dynamically, right, over time, how are we tracking towards completion for the entire amount of work that exists in the backlog for this project. And as that work is completed, again, in other collections by the teams working on that project across multiple disciplines, you're going to see this slowly but surely burn down, hopefully very close to this ideal burn down line. And also, this isn't a great example, forgive the demonstration data, but as work actually is completed, you're going to get a nice real-time prediction of how your expected, a velocity-based prediction is how you're expected to hit that deadline for that project. Are we tracking, coming in late? Are we tracking in coming in early? So on and so forth, based on that real velocity-based prediction. Now here, also maybe you want to visualize your capacities and your allocations not by people, but maybe also by discipline. So here's a great example of that, where we can see, okay, this is the amount of work allocated for design. And if we click on this, right, we can drill down maybe into the details of that bucket or create a separate chart, maybe a live sheet view widget that gives us direct visibility into just design. We could do the same for engineering. Here's that engineering bucket. Here's the QA bucket. Here's the UI UX bucket, so on and so forth. And when we click on this, we can drill down again into the cards that make up that assigned work for that particular discipline. And this could be across any one of these widgets can be across whatever time span you designate. So it could be for a sprint, it could be for a milestone, it could be for a quarter, it could be for an entire year. That is completely up to you, given the flexibility of the tool. Now, this same PPM capacity planning dashboard can also be used as a roadmap. It's as simple as adding a roadmap view to this same board. So here you can see I've already created one called Project Roadmap. Now, when I switch to this, what this allows you to do is to see all of your projects, right? And all of the milestones for those projects. Here you can see in blue the milestones for project 1, in purple the milestones for project 2, all in a single timeline with the ability to zoom in or zoom out, however you choose. Again, this is all on the same board. So this really becomes your master dashboard and roadmap from a PPM level across all of your projects. Now, say for example, I can see project 1 is in progress and project 2 is currently selected. It hasn't started yet. Now, maybe there's dependencies across projects. Maybe for some reason project 1, because of capacity or because of maybe just some other dependency, project 2 needs something from project 1 before it can even begin, right? So we want to call out that dependency at the project level. Now, to do that, it's as simple as clicking project 2, saying add dependency. We have a before dependency, basically a predecessor dependency, based on, again, either the capacity or something that we need as a deliverable from project 1. And you can see that dependency line here. So say for some reason at a very high level, and this can be triggered from an automation at a lower level, project 1 becomes delayed. And again, that could be handled from a automation. In that case, you'd probably see that delay and you want to call out, okay, there's a dependency between these two projects, so do the analysis. And essentially that's going to push out this other project, project 2. And maybe you also change this status to delayed as well. And that's, again, completely up to you. So that's a way to handle and visualize dependencies at a very high level from a project roadmap view. Now, I also want to call out that these projects, right, these timeline bars representing those projects can literally be broken down or connected to the project backlogs. So to do that, you'd simply click here, right, and select break down to board, essentially breaking it down to its own backlog. I've already done that for both of these projects. So if I open up each one of these on the timeline, I can see that they're literally connected to, or that timeline view of the project has been broken down to the actual project backlog. And you're able to navigate to that project backlog wherever it lives. And again, the project backlog, it may exist here at the PPM planning dashboard level, but it also probably is shared down to, right, is shared down to by saying more add or move to collection, the actual project team collection that's handling this particular project. Again, huge power of Favro that the boards and backlogs can exist in multiple collections simultaneously. Now, you can also see from the project backlog side of things that it's linked or has been broken down by that high level roadmap, essentially. And I can click this and navigate back up to the project roadmap and maybe handle those high level dependencies and see the overall timeline of projects out into the future. So that's a very powerful thing to be able to do, to be able to break this high level view, this roadmap view of your projects down into the actual project backlogs, and having things or delays within those project backlogs actually affecting the parent, because you've created a parent-child relationship as soon as you break this down into this. So if there are delays here, it can actually automatically affect what happens here at the higher level, maybe changing this status to delayed, sending out some notifications to the leadership involved in this particular project, maybe the resource manager as well of these particular projects.